I have a CTF for CVE 2016-5195, aka the Dirty Cow vulnerability. Um, I'm just going to go over what a player will see as they try this CTF. Um, so I'm running this VM locally, but you could have players log in via SSH or remote desktop or whatever. And as we log into Ubuntu 20 or 12.04, we're greeted with an admin login, which takes a password that isn't easy to guess, and a user00, which doesn't need a password. Now, since this is Ubuntu 12, uh, it this can be trivially done using Metasploit, but it's assumed for this one that that's not allowed. Um, and if you'd like for that to be allowed, you could just patch the dirty cow bug back into a newer kernel, um, and make it so that it doesn't work with the same exploit. But this one is meant to be using this CVE 2016-5195. So as a player, probably the first thing you'll look at is email, because that's the only text document, or you'll look in these folders and see that there's some code. Maybe you'll read text, but it's just some text. So if you open the email, you see, attention all developers. Evil Corp has just notified me that I'm being let go. Evil Corp hasn't been hacked in a while, so I guess they think they don't need any security professionals anymore. I know of a bug in the system. I'd love to hit him myself, but they already removed my access to the server. Evil Corp reads internal emails, so I can't give away so much that they'd find it themselves. So there's just a reason why I can't tell you exactly what to do. And the issue has to do with a couple system calls in the kernel. I might have used them in a project. I advise that you race to write this email somewhere before they delete it. P.S. Don't write over data you want to read. All of this header stuff is useless and might just throw people off. But hopefully notice the hints that advice, race, and write are important somehow. And based on these hints, we know we want to find where he's used these system calls that could be used for this exploit. And this is from John Doe, and he's writing, or at least this one's sent to Yale Owen, so JDO and YOU. If we take a look at our own projects, we can see that we have something here, and all it does is print, I don't know what I'm doing. So we're not a great programmer. But if we look in JDO's projects, which he said he might have done something in the past that used some system calls, we can see he has admin interface and write cat. We can see that admin interface and executable here. So we can run this, but nothing happens because it's meant to be run in a terminal. So we'll do that. If we run admin interface, it says your user is not an admin list.txt. And if we take a look at admin list.txt, we have a couple admins, including admin 0. And we are user 00, so we can't do whatever it is that admin interface does. We can see admin data here, but if we stat that out, that is completely unreadable or writable. And if we want to try to modify admin list.text, we can see that's also only readable. And we can't modify admin interface either. So if we take a look in these projects, we can look at admin interface.c to figure out what it's supposed to do. And if we read through this, we can see that it checks if the current user by PWD, so you can't just change your display name. If that matches one of the names in the list, and if it's not, it exits early. But otherwise, it goes into this loop, which has two options: print help and print admin. And print admin will open admin data and print out the contents of it. So we're guessing that admin data is where the flag is. It's the only file we can't read. So if we look a little bit further, we have text.text. As we saw before, that doesn't have anything useful. And we have write_cat here. So if we read the implementation of write_cat, it says a simple program that lets you see what a file would look like if you were to write to it. Works with read-only files. Because that's a pretty decent hit already that we need to write to a read-only file. And if you saw my CVE video, you'll already see some similarities here. It's basically removed the actual race exploit, but kept much of this content and then added hints, basically. So we can go ahead and run it actually to see what exactly it does instead of reading through the code. So if we run write_cat and say welcome to write_cat, this program allows you to see, yeah, we already read that, what a file would look like if you wrote over it. So for example, we can do text.txt. And if you remember, it said this is some text to start. And if we write over that with, like, just say a bunch of A's, it'll say this is what that would look like if we overrode it with A's. And then it will, just keep going. So that's all it does. If you'd like to, you can also see what it would look like if you overwrote admin list text. So if you were to say put user 00 in there, you can see this is what it would look like. And what we want to do now is look into this file, because this is the file that, or I mean, it could have also been admin interface.c, but John Doe said to look at his projects to see some system calls that might have some type of issues. So if we just scan through this code, we read in a file name. First system call we use is open. And then p error, I don't think, no, that's not a system call. We use fstat to map, and then we map, right? We map our file into memory. But the most obviously a hint part of this is this to-do remove threads. It makes no sense to write and advise on the separate threads. These operations are obviously serial. So we make a thread for write print mem and advise. So we have some comments here. We say we can write to the mapping in memory. explanation of what it does internally, because of course, and then print the contents so that we can see what it would look like. And then up here on advise, we have, let's be nice and tell the kernel we don't need the memory anymore so it can discard the writable mapping. And discard writable mapping is another suggestion that we are going to write to a read-only file. Again, more suggestion that we are doing things concurrently that shouldn't be done concurrently. Okay, so once the player figures out that throwing away the writable mapping and writing to cause a copy on write, once the player figures out that that's might have a race in it, which is capitalized of course in the email, the obvious solution is try to make them happen at the same time. And since these are already done by different threads, that's actually really easy. You can just write a for loop. And I'll do this 100,000 times because that's good enough from what I've seen. So I can copy this loop over. So yeah, we're doing the advise, and then we're gonna concurrently do the write. And if you've never used lseek and write, this might be kind of hard to read, but it's part of the challenge. This isn't supposed to be that easy. Anyway. So we made our changes so that it's pretty likely that the write and the advises will happen at the right timing. So let's compile this. So we'll compile write cat, and I'll call it like exploit. I forgot the -o again. I think I did that in the CVE explanation, but okay, now we have exploit. We can run exploit this time, and we'll put in admin list .text, and just like when we saw what it would look like, we're gonna, if we overrode it with user 00, we're gonna do that again. So this is what it would look like, right? But hopefully it actually did that too. Because hopefully one of those times, 100,000 times we did those writes, it wound up writing to the actual mapping without the copy. So let's cat admin list.text. And there we are, we're in it. I don't remember, I think I did try to run admin interface before. But now, since we are in admin list.text, it should let us in. And the VM crashed, so that's a pretty common thing. This VM isn't super stable. Hopefully it saved the file. Please tell me it saved the file. It did not. Okay, did it save the exploit? It did, okay. So I don't know if that's just because of the VM or if I mean, you can see there's like graphical errors and stuff. Or if doing the exploit actually uh, made some bad stuff happen. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and run this again. Oh, and I will, I guess, once again run admin interface to show that we are not an admin list.txt. And of course, there's nothing we can do about it. Admin interface is it is not writable. It has the set UID bit. It's owned by root. And admin list is not writable either. Right, it's only read. And we are not in it. Okay. Alright, yeah, let's run it. JDO projects. We're gonna run exploit. And we are going to modify admin list.txt. We're gonna add, or we're gonna overwrite user 00 into it. There we go, it did it. A cat admin list.txt. See if it worked, it did. Run admin interface. And we're going to print the context of admin data, which we cannot read. That's not a P. And there we go. We got the flag. It's super random flag that can't be guessed. And yeah, there we go. We can turn that in, get our points. We've completed the CTF. Alright, thanks for watching.